Happy New Year.
for
Yes.
the time.
So my name is Taiwi, as introduced by Sister Eileen. So today I'm going to share with you being kind to others. Right. But before we start, can I have a show of hand? How many of you feel that the world needs more kindness? That's great. How many of you that we don't need any more further kindness? It's enough. Nobody. How many of you don't know? Okay, good. At least we have one or two who are not too sure, but it's okay. Good to be honest. Now, actually, the world actually needs a lot of kindness in order to continue. If you watch the news, you watch what's happening around the world. We are actually getting a lot of problem out of uncompassionate action, out of uncompassionate speech. Right? So all this unkind action and speech actually cause a lot of sufferings to the world. Right? I'm not trying to be very pessimistic about these things, but at least we have to be observant to see what's happening around us. But there's also a positive side to it. Since 10 years ago, the world has actually started to realize that the world needs more kindness, and there is a movement, kindness movement around the world has started. Every country, I won't say every country. In fact, there are many countries that actually started to have this kindness movement. In our own country, Singapore, we also have our own Singapore kindness movement. I'm not sure you're aware of that. Right? There was actually, it was mooted quite a few years back. And this organization, Singapore Kindness Movement Organization, is still around. Right? So in fact, last night I just went to the website and did check. So later I'll be sharing some of the video clips from them. Very touching video clips, but it sent a very impactful message to all of us to make the world a better place, or our country a better place to live in. So now back to the topics, kindness. What do we understand about kindness? According to the definition in the dictionary, kindness is an action to express, to show courtesy, right? To be pleasant in the things that we do, speech or action, to show consideration for the people around us. So that's what we meant by kindness. Right? It's easy to say, and all of us know it very well. I need to be kind to people. It always comes to our mind, right? Be kind, be kind. But very often, when it comes to situation, we totally forgot about it. Right? I myself also included. Sometimes when situation comes, what about kindness? I mean, you just can't even think of it, right? And now today, actually, I will actually share why this thing happened to us. Because in order for us to practice kindness, we must first understand a few things. You first have to understand about yourself first. Then you can actually apply the kindness. I will try to quote this, the sutta, the Metta Sutta, that was actually taught by the Buddha to a group of disciples on how to actually share kindness. And the background of this story actually comes from many years back, few thousand years back, where Buddha was around. There's a group of disciples of the Buddhas who went into the forest to practice, right, during the rain retreat. For those who are not familiar with the Buddhist tradition, so in the Buddhist tradition, every year there's a period of time that actually the monks will go into the secluded areas to do their own practice, meditation. And they'll try not to come out from the place to disturb people or to disturb the practice. So they actually will stay there for 3 months. They call the rain retreat. Usually it's during the July, August, September periods, right? So during the period of time, the monks actually go to this secluded place, and this group of monks went to a place near Himalayas forest. And that's a place that the Buddha actually have identified for them. This is the best place for you to meditate and practice for the rain retreat. And after that, you have a lot of achievement from there. So that's what the Buddha actually advised the group of monks. So this group of monks faithfully followed the instruction, went to that place and meditate. And in that place, it's very nice, very serene, very quiet and peaceful, right? Himalayas area, right? Not like Singapore urbans, right? So I'm not sure you can imagine that. You can imagine there's a very peaceful very beautiful grass land, trees, mountains, rivers around the area, right? So the monks actually identify a few locations for them to stay permanently for that retreat. So there were trees around there, big trees, very beautiful trees. So they used that as a base for them to do the meditation and stay there. So happened that in this area, there's a lot of devas around there. Right? So that was how the story goes. So, and also happened that those trees that the monks picked have a lot of guardian devas stay above it. Right? So they were very peaceful devas. They are very kind and loving devas, but they don't mind the monks stay there for a while. Right? So they thought that they were going to stay there a few days and then it would go away, so they didn't disturb them. But after a while, they all noticed that, yeah, this monk actually has been staying there for quite some time already. A week has passed, 2 weeks has passed, and they're still there. And as monks, when they practice, they actually usually be very peaceful and quiet. But sometimes because they need to actually do their daily chores, the routine, actually they disturb the devas. So the devas actually get upset, and they try to drive them away. So what they do, they actually create a lot of noise, a lot of disturbance in the middle of the night. It was so disturbing that the monks actually can't really practice. So they say that if we continue this way, we cannot actually achieve our practice. So what they do is that they went back to the Buddha and seek guidance and advice, and asked for another location that they can practice from the Buddha. But the Buddha says, no, he still thinks that this is the best place for them, and advised them to go back to the same place to practice. But he actually gave them one more instruction. This instruction is the metta, sending the metta to the devas. So let them share the merits. Let them feel energized. Make them feel peaceful and happy. Right? So that's how the Metta Sutta comes about. So in general, the Metta Sutta comprises of 2 parts. The first part of it actually talks about individual behavior, development. How should you cultivate yourself? Self-cultivation. Right? So one part of it, they talk about you have to be upright. You have to be simple to be supported. You have to be humble. Right? You have to be right in your moral values and conduct, so that nobody can question you, nobody can penalize you. So that is actually a very good moral training for individual. Now, but there's also one part of it actually is meant for the monks, so probably not so much for lay, but I think that's what I think. So probably things like you should be reducing the attachment to the lay people. Okay, I think that's more for the monks, not for a lay person. So, I mean, that aside, but the key moral values and training for individuals is very important for us, for us to practice and cultivate ourselves. So, cultivate yourself first, based on these training and values. Then after that, the next part of the sutta talk about how do you share the merits, how do you share the metta. Right? So when you share mettas, you share with everyone, right? Regardless of who they are, regardless of where they are, whether they are seen or unseen. With this metta, you wish them to be well and happy, right? You wish them they don't hate each other, they don't cheat each other, right? They live well and harmoniously among each other, right? So that is actually the gist of it, right? So these are the 2 parts of the sutta that you talk about, loving kindness, how to show kindness to the people around you. But important thing is that the key points goes back to, before you do that, you must first look at yourself. Am I ready to do that? So now I'll focus on how to actually help ourselves to be ready, to be able to share kindness to people around us. So if you look at the teaching of the Buddha, there are a few things that he always emphasized. First is actually our moral conduct. That's why we have these 5 precepts that you chanted, right? So these 5 precepts help us to anchor our moral values. Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, right? All these are basic things. No sexual misconduct, and don't intoxicate our mind with all the intoxicants. So this is very important, and this is also one of the basic teachings that we can actually apply to ourselves to keep us reminding ourselves to build up our moral conduct, so that with the moral conduct being strengthened, we will not be easily defeated. When it comes to a situation that we face, we are able to actually face it. When people question you, you have a moral ground to stand. this is my moral principle. I will not budge. I will strongly believe in that. And that will actually make your confidence level increase. It will make you be more assured in what you think is right and wrong. And only then you are able to actually to apply your kindness to people. Now, maybe I just going one step further. For all of us as human beings, we are actually mostly operated in the automatic modes. In what sense? We are all driven by habits. Most of us. Or in fact, all of us, most of the times are driven by habits. One very good example, for those who drive here this morning, when you get in your car, do you have to think through all the steps on what to do in your car? Turn on your engine, adjust your mirrors, adjust your chairs? No, right? First thing you do is press a button to start the car or turn the key to start the car, and then you just drive off. Automatics. There's no need to think through what's the process, what's the steps. No second thought about it. Right? How we behave this way is because we are driven by our habits. Our mind is so in tune with the things that we do day to day that we don't need to think. Once we get there, we know what to do. And this is actually according to the psychological, the neurology science research many years back. They actually also found out that 80%, I think probably close to 80% of our time, our brain don't think. We just habitually do the things that we do. Right? So there's a story, there's a book that actually I read. It's called The Power of Habit. So in there, it actually describes scientifically how the brain behaves, which is very interesting. And actually, look at it, actually it's also quite aligned to our Buddhist teaching. How we behave as individual, right? So he actually described, the started off as a story about a man who has some issues with the brain. So certain part of the brain actually was damaged because of certain illness. And this person cannot remember things that he has said, things that he has done for the last 20 seconds or a minute ago. So he keep on repeating questions that he asked. When they see a person, every time they see a person, you ask the same question, who are you and try to start a conversation. So that actually becomes a subject of the investigation for this neuroscientist. I think his name is Larry, can't remember his name anymore. Yeah, I think it's Larry something, right? So he actually used this subject as a research and find how the brain works. But along the experiment or research, he found that something very interesting happened. This person, despite losing the memory to be able to capture the short-term memories on what he does and what he say, he's able to actually to live his daily life to a certain extent quite normally. He's able to actually to get out of his house, go to a place that he usually goes to and come back, without having the memory to recognize where he has gone to. He even know where the cookies is placed in the kitchen, right? Where the bacon and eggs are kept in the fridge. But imagine if, let's say, scientifically it says the mind is damaged and you can't remember, then how could a person know where to get those things? So he researched further and find that actually all these are driven by habits. There's a certain part of the brain that actually has been wired in such a way that you can train your habits, become habitual. You don't need to think. If you want something, when the cue is there, you actually automatically trigger the process to go and get the things that you want. And then you get the rewards that you want. So there are basically 3 steps to it, according to the research. There's a cue to cue you to start your routine, the habitual routine. After the cue is triggered, your habitual routine so kicks in. And after that, you get your rewards and you're satisfied. So this process it was experimented on rats as well. So they use the rats to actually experiment that to do the same thing. Same thing, they quite cruel from Buddhist perspective. They actually destroy the brain, the part of the brain in the rats that actually contains a memory, so that the rats actually behave the same behavior, right? Cannot remember. So same thing they train, right? Use the multiple training methods to give a chocolate to the rats, but always guide the rats through a path that will go straight, turn left, you get the chocolate. and there's a cue. The cue is some sound, a clicking sound. So this experiment was conducted multiple times until the rats get so used to it that even though there's no memory in the rats, but he can still get to the cheese or get to the chocolate very fast, very accurately, okay? Not 100%, but at least close more than 80% of the time they can do that. So that actually proved that the brain actually has some function that is actually driven by automatic behavior. And we humans are the same thing as well. So this behavior of us is very important for us to realize, because we ourselves, sometimes we forget that we operate in the automatic mode, right? Not about driving the car, but it's more about how we deal with people. So when there's a cue, the words that you hear, that you are not happy, that you don't feel good about, your inner self automatic reaction will start to kick in. You start to retaliate. You start to argue back. Okay? Or worst thing, you start to scold, or you start to punch a person. Right? So that is actually your automatic reaction. So we have to recognize that there's a such thing in us that we need to fix in order for us to be a kinder person. So I believe most of you, if not all, would have actually have this experience that, be it at work or be it at family, they're bound to be something that you don't like. Some words or certain things that you don't like to hear. Right? So, say for example, at home, you don't like your spouse to, or maybe not spouse, kids. Yeah, kids are usually drive people crazy. Right? So, for kids, actually, you don't like kids actually to just throw things around. Right? When kids throw things around, don't pack it, you get very agitated, very angry. Right? For information, I don't have kids. At least just based on what I understood from parents, right? who are very upset with the kids at home and always complain. So things running around the floor and don't keep and start to get very agitated, very angry. So as long as first thing you step home from work, after busy work, you see that all the toys and books are lying on the floor, first thing reaction is scold, right? Raise your temper, raise your voice and start to scold. Why you didn't do that? Yeah. So the kids will just quiet because they know that they are wrong. So, but if you look at it deeply, why do you behave such way? Is there stress? Yeah. Good, it's stress, right? But stress is one of the conditions that drive you to do that. But when you started to look at the situation, when the situation comes to your mind, your eye contact, right? Your vision contact, that such a messy home, it triggers your routine because you don't like that. Your routine is reprimand the kids, right? Because they are the ones who create all the mess. So this is actually the human nature. And if you can realize that, that's very good. Then the next step is, how do we actually prevent it from you getting affected by this sin, the cue? So in order for you to correct that habit, you need to build, you need to build new habits. So our mind is interesting things because it's just like a program. Okay, I'm an IT person, right? So mind, I would view it actually steps as a program. You can write a program to program a function, right? A steps to execute a function. But you can also convert your programs to do other things. Overwrite your old programs with a new one, right? With the same cue, but you overwrite with a new routine. So, but this requires a lot of training. Like I say, the experiments of the mice, right? The rats. It took them multiple rounds of training, hundreds and hundreds of training for the rats to get used to that habit. Likewise for human, same thing as well. We human could be easier to train because the intellect level is actually much higher. And we actually, if you have strong determination, the habit can change. They were saying is that you can change your habit within 7 days. Right? There was such a saying. Or 21, yeah. So it can be trained, right, within a period of time. 21 days, 7 days, right? It depends on your own determination. So if you're determined enough, then it's also, there's a way for us to change it, right? So that is actually, it gives us some hopes that we are not like zombie or robots. We only do one thing, but we can change ourselves. We can change our destiny. So one way actually to change it is that you understand the cue. Let's say the cue of the scene of messy home is very disturbing, that always trigger you to something, to start to scold the kids, you can actually look at it this way. Whenever you see that thing, the cue, but replace it with your love with your kids. As a parent, the love to the kids actually is boundless, right? It's so strong. You can overcome anything. You can always forgive your kids. Replace it with your love with the kids and how to train your kids to be a better person, to be more responsible in what they do, so that you will help them to be a better person, to be more responsible, to be able to survive in the society better in the future. So this will achieve what kicks in, and then as long as you see that, you quickly program yourself to think of that way, and over time, keep on reminding yourself that you need to train your kids, you need to train your kids. And that actually, hopefully within 7 to 21 days or even longer, you can change your habit. Right? So that's one of the ways that habits can be changed. Right? In fact, if you heard of this NLP, neuro-logistic programming, there was such a tool that people use, a method that helps people to change their habit, to change them to be emotionally more charged up, to be more positive in life. So that is one of the ways. So this is actually also very aligned to what we teach in the Buddhist, right? So our mind, there's no permanent self. There's more permanent thinking, permanent thoughts. Everything just come and go. Whatever you behave today can be changed tomorrow. Right? So that is actually one of the things that we also need to realize about ourselves. Right? So knowing our habits and how we react, then let's look at how can we actually train ourselves to be a kinder person by changing our habits. So first thing is your kids. Next thing, you will bring it back to your office and work or in a society. Things that you see or you hear that you don't like, you don't feel happy about, what can you do about it? Right? So in a meeting, you would like to present your ideas to your colleagues or to your bosses, but you got shot down and people don't appreciate your effort. How do you feel in that moment? Yeah, some will feel angry, right? Some will feel sad. Right? Some will want to fight. No matter what, I want to argue all the way through to make my proposal true. So there are certain things that we can learn from there, the reaction. Right? The first reaction that comes usually is actually very reactive. So take a step back. Think before you act. That is actually the training of mindfulness. Right? In the Eightfold Path, Noble Eightfold Path taught by the Buddha, one of them is the right mindfulness. And that's also the reason why the Noble Eightfold Path is a path for us to get rid of our sufferings. Right? So right mindfulness. When you're mindful of yourself, mindful of your emotion, mindful of your speech and action, you will actually help yourself to be a better person. Now, back to the example, if you are mindful of yourself, when your emotion arises, that's your feeling that arises. You can catch that feeling that I don't like that feeling. If you can catch that and pause for a while before you trigger your program to react, you will have a better chance to actually do the right thing. The right thoughts will come, the right speech will come, the right action will come. Right? For those who are not familiar with Eightfold Path, what I mentioned about right thought, right speech, right action, they are part of the Eightfold Path. Right? All of us operate in this manner, based on habits. And our thoughts is the one that affect our speech and our action. So that's why in the training, we always train ourselves to be very mindful of what happens in our head. Right? Your emotion that you don't like will trigger the thoughts on what you want to do. If you can catch that, the link here and here, you can try to catch it earlier and start to pause for a while. That's where you can slowly change your habit. Right? Easy to say, right? The way that I describe it is simple. Just catch it somewhere in between your head and your heart. You can actually stop it, but not easy to do. It's very, very difficult to do, right? So, but it's not doable. It's not undoable. It can be changed. As long as you have continuous practice, Do it regularly. Be aware of your emotion. Pause. Always pause before you react. Always pause before you react. That's where you can train yourself to be able to catch it, to be able to stop your automatic routine. Right? And this is how we actually train ourselves to control our emotion. And after that, your metta can come. Your loving kindness can come. Okay? You can actually automatically pause, stop. When someone do something that's not so pleasant, your thoughts will be, how can I help the person to be a better person? Right? And if this thought comes around, your action and words will be gentle, kinder. You remind yourself to demonstrate the kindness. Now, when we show kindness to the person, sometimes you also need to be careful. Don't force yourself to, I be kind, then until one day that people will just overtake you and take advantage of you. Right? We also need to exercise some wisdom. When to be firm, to say no, when to be firm, and when to be kind. You can be firm, but yet after that, you can be kind, right? And always make sure that yourself are being protected, because as I did the metta meditation earlier, the first thing that I did was sending metta to yourself. May I be well and happy. May I be kind, free from all harm and danger. So you first have to protect yourself. If you yourself don't feel kind to yourself, it's very hard for you to feel kind to other people. Right? So always start with yourself. But objective is, don't overreact. Avoid going into this bad habit of reacting to situation in the negative way. Right? Train yourself to be able to catch it. Your emotion arises, catch it, and think positively. Your positive thought, your action and speech will be positive. Right? And replace the anger with kindness. Replace the agitation with patience. Right? So that's how we can train ourselves. And that's the first part of it, how ourselves can be trained so that we can actually exercise our kindness more regularly and hopefully automatically, right? Now, once you actually have done that yourself, cultivated, trained. So to show kindness to people, right? So earlier I mentioned about definition of kindness is to be pleasant in your speech, pleasant in your action, to be more considerate, right? So in a society today, all these are very important. Inconsideration is also one of the problems that we face. Right? When you take the MRTs, right, giving up seats to the elderly or the pregnant ladies, it's actually a very considerate action. So there was, unfortunately, we need to have a movement in order for people to do that, right? So that's a bit unfortunate. But it's a good thing. At least people are now more aware. You can see more often now in the train, people are giving up seats to elderlies and pregnant ladies, which are good things. Become a habit, right? This is also a habit. By the way, when I talk about habits, it's not just individual habits. Habits could be a group habit. It could be an organization habit. It could be a society habit. And in psychological term, I think there's a term that we use, herd mentality, right? Someone do something, everyone follow, right? And it become a norm, become a social norm. Yeah, it's actually a normal thing to do. So kindness should be done in the same thing as well. Every one of us demonstrate kindness to people around us. One fire starts, the other will follow. Right? So hopefully everyone follows, and that becomes a social norm that all of us, by nature, as a Singaporean, or people in Singapore, staying in Singapore, will be normal. It's normal to be kind. It becomes so normal. Right? People won't look at you, hey, why you are doing that? Do we have ulterior motive? Right? So that is hopefully, if we all do our parts over times, right? It may not be next 10 years or so, but could be longer, because it takes a while for people to change, right? Over time, this place will be a better place for us to stay in. Right? So when we actually show kindness to people, yeah, like I say, we need to protect ourselves. in order for us to actually to share, continue to show more kindness. Because if you don't do that over time, you get demoralized. You start to question yourself, am I right? Is it right to be kind to people? Once you have this doubt, and doubt is one of the one of the factors that actually will cause us to regress. It's in the Buddhist teaching itself. For us to progress, you must make sure that you don't have doubts. No doubts in the teaching of the Buddha, and no doubts in your own practice, right? So avoid going to that stage where you doubt yourself. Should I be kind, right? And to do that, you must make sure that yourself is guarded, protected, and give you the strength and confidence to move on from there, right? Now, showing kindness to people, I think I don't have to share more on how to show kindness. I think most of us will know, right? But I would actually want to share, probably the next thing is that the power of showing kindness actually will have a lot of impact. Okay, I just quote one story from the sutta. There's a story about this elephant, Naragiri. Right? I'm not sure you've heard of that. So this elephant, in the ancient time, it actually is very famous because it's a very fierce, very strong, and powerful elephant owned by the king. Right? So wins many battles. So in the Buddha's lifetime, one of the stories actually goes that Buddha has a disciple called Devadatta. So this is actually one of the cousins of the Buddha. So he's actually a very powerful in terms of psychic power, and he's also one of those that actually would like to take over the Buddha. So not a very good disciple. So he actually tried to kill Buddha in many occasions, and one of the occasions that he's trying to make use of this elephant called Naragiri to actually to kill the Buddha. So Buddha always goes to the city for Armstrong, right? Every morning as a routine. So one of the plot that he has is that he actually bribes the keeper of the elephants with with a lot of monies, and then says that you feed the elephants with wine, palm. I think during then they use the palm wine, right? So feed it with wines until the elephant get drunk, and then provoke the elephants, make it angry, right? So imagine a big, powerful elephant who is drunk, mind is intoxicated, who is actually emotionally is being affected with a lot of hatred and anger because someone provoked him, right? So what will happen? He will just go crazy, right? He just charge and don't care about what's going on. He just charge and then release his anger. So this elephant was being agitated and drunk, and it was charging towards Buddha in the street of the city. Now everyone saw that. They're all very scared because this big, powerful elephant, he can actually tear down trees or buildings, right? No one can stop it. So everyone runs away. So Buddha, when he sees these elephants, he's very calm, very gentle, right? Very composed. He's not panicked at all. So his disciple with him, all were very scared, all ran behind him, right? So left him, but the good thing is that he has one disciple who's very faithful, Ananda, who is actually standing in front of him and try to protect the Buddha. But Buddha actually moving away and said that, he can manage. So how did Buddha manage the situation? He used loving kindness, metta, and that's what he did. He sent his metta, the kindness, to the elephants. So strong and so powerful that the elephant straight away received it, come to senses, and then bow down in front of the Buddha. So that is the power of kindness and compassion. And if all of us can do that, you can actually influence a lot of people who are angry, who are emotionally distressed, and help them to calm down and be a better person. Right? So, but one thing to quantify is that Buddha is a different being. He's a well-practiced, very high-attained being with a lot of metta, and the metta that he has is unmeasurable and uncomparable. Right? So all of us may not have that kind of power yet. So if one day you see an elephant or lions charging against you, please do the right thing, run. Right? So otherwise, the lions will be very thankful to you because he will had his meal for the day, right? That's your kindness to him, to feed him for the meal, right? So be wise, exercise wisdom in your cultivation, right? So how do you know that you are there in order to go out and start to be kind to people? Always check yourself, right? Where are you? If you are not there yet, always improve, right? Always remind yourself how to improve. Yeah. But there's also one thing that we also have to realize. We ourselves can be self-deceiving. We think that we are there, but we are not there yet. So I'm not sure you heard of the other story. There's a story about this Chinese scholar called Su Dongbo. Right? So Su Dongbo in the Chinese ancient history, he's a very popular scholar. He's also a very good practitioner in the Buddhist practice. He has a good friend called Ying, Venerable Ying. He's a Zen master, also a very well practiced Zen master in China that days. So they were good friends, so very close, and they always talk about Dharma. So one day, Su Dongpo actually went to a place, very secluded place, very nice place, serene, peaceful, right? Just like the Himalayas place. So he practiced there, and he feel very calm, peaceful, and he feel that, yes, I have practiced very well. I'm practiced so well that I'm not being affected by anything that will attack me, right? So in the Buddhist phrase, we have these 8 things that will cause human emotional, will arouse the emotion of a person, right? It's called the 八风, 8 winds we call them. These are Mahayanese context. Huh? So these 8 things actually refers to honor, disgrace, praise, criticize, gain, loss, pleasant, unpleasant feeling. Right? These are 8 things that will affect a human emotion. So he claimed that he's practiced so well that these 8 things will not affect him. So he wrote a very nice poem. Right? I have it here, but I'm not sure whether I got time to read. Okay, let me just read it. Those who understand Chinese, 起手天中天，毫光照大前，八风吹不动，端坐紫金莲。Okay, this because it's scholar, right? Very poetic. What does it mean? Okay, what it means is that this is a translation. So he bowed to the heaven within the heaven, right? Then hairlines raised illuminating the universe. Yeah, this is just a very poetic description. But important thing it says that the 8 winds cannot move me. These 8 winds are the 8 things I mentioned, right? Sitting still upon the purpose golden lotus. So he's sitting there meditating, very calm and peaceful. These 8 emotional worldly stuff will not be affecting him. That means he's attained a certain level of achievement in his practice. That's what he claimed. So he said this poem, very nicely written, sent it to his friend, this Venerable Ying. Okay, Venerable Ying, look at it, very funny, very smile, and then he write a word, 2 character words in Chinese. It's called 放屁, right? Okay, 放屁 in Chinese means actually bullshit, right? So if I translate it literally, it's actually fart, right? So, and send it back to this Su Dongpo. So Su Dongpo, when he read this, he was so upset, so furious that he actually immediately threw away the letter, took the boat, crossed the river, go to the monastery and look for this venerable friend. Want to argue with him. How can you disgrace me? How can you humiliate me in this way? You are my good friend, right? So that's very upset. And before he stepped into the monastery, he looked at the front door. There's a paper paste on the front door. Also in Chinese word, I probably will read it in Chinese, then I translate it. So these 2 phrases says, 八风吹不动，一屁弹过江. Right? So that is what he says. Well, in English, what it means is that the 8 winds cannot move you, but 1 fart can blow you across the river to come and see me. Right? So that's what he meant. So that is a very good story, and I till now I still like the story because it really reminds us, we as a practitioner, as Buddhist practitioner, have to check ourselves, be realistic, and be honest to ourselves. Where do we stand? Are we there yet? We may think that we are, but actually when it comes to situation, we are not, right? So always remind ourselves, and don't be proud. That's why in the Metta Sutta, one of the personal training that Buddha's mentioned you must have is be humble. Don't be proud. Right? Be humble in what you do, be humble in what you say, and be humble in your practice. Right? Be honest about it. So that is a good example that actually, or reminder to us. We as a practitioner always need to constantly check ourselves to understand where we stand, and also to help us to progress in our practice, and also to also understand the situation whether we can handle or not. Right? Just like a lion or tiger or elephant charge against you, towards you, you would think that you are like Buddha can send metta to them. Yes, but good luck, right? So we don't know whether the elephant will stop, right? So do the right thing at the right time, right? Actually, having said all these things, actually you can also sense that whatever we do doesn't mean that we do it in a controlled environment and we can actually can feel that we are there. You go to a retreat. For those who went to a retreat, when you do meditation, very calm, very peaceful. Wow, you can say that I have achieved, right? The calmness and peacefulness. I can radiate metta to anyone. So any scoldings or anything that comes along, all the 8 winds that comes around, I will not be moved. But once you come back to office, what happened? It's different, right? Okay. I myself experienced that before, right? So very calm, peaceful, but I go back to office, different story. Right? So there's also a saying, a good sailor, okay, is trained by the storm. You need to have a storm for a good sailor to be developed. Likewise for us, a good practitioner, a kind person, you need to go through situations, hard situations, for us to get better, right? So whatever we said this morning is all theories, right? We say we know, but do we really know how to execute it? Even though you know how to execute it, when it comes to real test and situation, are we able to handle it, right? So all this comes with experience and training, right? So you must continue to train yourself, remind yourself. If you fail, never mind. Next time I try again. If you, in certain situations, you are being unkind to people, right? When people disagree with you, you raise your voice, you are harsh, right? You humiliate the person. Realize that, okay, and apologize. Learn to apologize, right? Once you humble yourself down and apologize, the kindness cultivation will start to build in, right? Goes back to the Metta Sutta. One of the things that we need to learn is to be humble, right? To be humble. So once you're humble, the natural things is actually your kindness will be generated. Now, talking about the theories and practice, I also have one story. I'm not sure whether should I share, but please don't take offense. It's just a story that I heard in one of my retreats. So it actually is talk about things that we learn. You must put into practice, otherwise it's useless. Okay? So there's this sailor, very experienced sailor, sail across the ocean, but he's very old man. One day, a scholar, okay, who bought a ship and want to travel with him across the ocean to somewhere else. So this scholar is very well learned. So he knows a lot of things. So one day, the old sailor goes to his room and want to learn something from him. So he say, Mr. So-and-so, I would like to learn something for you. Can you please teach me? Then the scholar actually was also very generous and very kind. So he said, yes. And share. And so when he shared, he asked the old sailor, so do you know about anything about cosmologies, right? The things about cosmos, right? All the universe stuff. Then the old man said, no, I don't know. Yeah, can you teach me? And at that moment, I think that scholar getting a bit proud, right? He said, oh no, you wasted 1/4 of your life, right? For not knowing this. These such important things to know, right? Okay, then never mind. The old sailor is very humble, understand. Okay, yeah, okay, I will learn. Then after a while, then yeah, you learn something, go back, and come back again a few days later, you learn something more. So then the scholar will ask him, so do you know about astrologies? Right? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, so can you teach me? Then again, the ego start to build up, right? Then the scholar said, no, you wasted half of your life. You don't even know astrologies. Then the third time that the old sailor went in here, asked for another sharing. He said, okay, now do you know what's oceanologies? Right? About oceans, all the marine stuff. No, he said, don't know. Then you have wasted 3/4 of your lifetime, right? So that old sailor feel a bit sad. Wow, I lived for so many years, I wasted 3/4 of my life, right? So, but he's also a very humble guy, so he just take it and learn from him. Then the fourth time that he goes to the cabin and look for this scholar. But this time around, the sailor is very anxious, very worried, and quickly asked the scholar, so, scholar, do you know about simologies? Simologies. Then the scholar said, what's simologies? I don't know what simologies. Yeah. So then the sailor said, oh, it's actually know how to swim. It's called simologies. Right? Yeah, the art of swimming, right? How the technical thing of how to swim. Then the scholar says, no, I don't know. Then this time around, the sailor said, oh, poor thing. You have wasted your whole entire life because the ship is sinking. You need to swim across the ocean to the island across, right? You don't know how to swim, then good luck to you, right? So that's also a very good example of when we learn something, not just theory, but put into practice, right? So anything that we talk about, be a good person, to be a kind person, yeah, this is what we hear, what we know, but it's all up here. How do we translate into action? That is our day-to-day life, right? Our routine. Make it as a routine so that it becomes a habit. A good habit that will be triggered, you'll be cued by anything that you see that you don't think is good, and replace it with the bad one, and always take a step back, look at it positively, and react in a positive way, a kind and gentle way. Right? So avoid raising your voice, avoid scolding people, avoid arguing. Okay? Or always use a very positive energies to actually, or positive thoughts to handle situation. Right? So that is actually one of the things that we can actually change ourselves to be a kinder person. When you yourself is kind, people around you can sense it somehow or other. And people sense it, they will be kinder to you. Right? So I'm not sure whether you have this experience that your genuine kindness coming from your heart can be felt by people around you. Right? So I remember in one of the retreat that Ajahn Brahm had, we did this metta meditation at the end of the retreat. Then he will want us to actually look at your watch. Today, what time? Right? And meditate. And after that, send metta to the person that you think of. One person, right? And then after that, go back home and check with the person. Hey, this time, this date, I sent metta to you. Did you receive it? Yeah?
Just ask
What were you doing? Yeah. So somehow that the kind of a connection. So do you try it? Somehow the other parties will have some sensing that you actually this person actually will start thinking of you somehow. So it can be somehow to some extent it can be connected. Right? So our kindness, our metta, if we do it continuously, it becomes very natural. People can feel it. So when people feel it, will change the person around you. Right? So let's do our small bit by cultivating ourselves, and with our cultivation, we demonstrate it, be a role model to show people that we are kind, right? And come to any situation that's not so pleasant, but you can use your kindness to overcome it. So with that kindness, people around you will be influenced, and you will try to spread, just like fire spreading, right? But this is a good positive fire that we spread, right? So that's all I would like to share. Before I end this talk, I would like to show you two video clips that I downloaded from this Singapore kindness movement. I mentioned earlier before the talk. So it's a very touching video clips that actually talks about kindness. So maybe what I can do is, let me just project it out.
Don't bother helping other people. You just mind your own business.
I am the sum of my moments. Everything I've experienced, everything I've been taught, makes me who I am today.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
The phone! Is this your first date at work? Look what you're doing!
What's in your bag? What's in your bag? Get out! Where's your wallet? What are you doing? Stop it! What's your problem?
Go get your manager out! Go!
So, what happened?
And for you.
I'm sure she didn't do it on purpose.
My phone is damaged because of her. Mind your own business!
Sir, I think you need to calm down.
We are the sum of our moments. And when our moments of kindness overcome our doubts, we can be greater and more beautiful.
Thank you.
Kindness, it's up to us.
Don't bother helping other people.
So this is a very good video clip that actually sums up what I talked about earlier, that a kindness that we generate from ourselves can be spread to other people, right? So you see this gentleman, very kind gentleman, who actually tried to stop a situation, step in because of the kindness that he has for the waitress. And with that, even though he's being confronted by the very angry customer, he stands firm, right? He didn't use harsh words, he just been gentle and be very calm about it, and people around him start to come in. When people around him comes in, the angry customer also changes his attitude, right? So that actually shows that kindness can be influenced. Though this is video clips, real life situation may not be as beautiful as this, but at least to a certain extent, it may have some impact, right? Now, next I will show you the other clips which is more touching.
哎，有没有听到那个小妹妹哦，进医院的 dengue 啊？
泥娃娃，泥娃娃，一个泥娃娃，我做他爸爸。我做他妈妈，永远爱着他。妹妹，加油！
爸爸加油哦！
All right. This is a very touching video clips, personally, that I find it. So even though you look at kindness, it doesn't mean that it has to be generated by elder people, right, or adults. Young kids like this, they know how to generate, how to show kindness. by giving motivations to the people around her. Keep motivating them, 加油, 加油, right? Because you know that the old lady is a bit, life is a bit tough for her. Now, you also realize that in this movie, the first few times that you try to show kindness will be rejected by people. Right? So she has been rejected 2 or 3 times in these clips. But she didn't give up. She kept on doing it. Being kids, I think being kids are a bit naive and being very in nature. They don't really bother by all this rejection, right? They just keep on doing it because they feel good and they feel happy about doing it. So, and over time, the old lady felt it. Actually, she also started to let her push a cart with her, for her in the rain. And when the young girl is actually sick, she actually care for her, treat her like her own granddaughter. That is the power of kindness. Someone that you don't know, you share your kindness with them, and at the same time, the return you get from them as well. Okay, I know it's a very touching story. When I first watched it, also emotionally, it's actually a bit affected, but it's a very good movie, I would think. The other thing, actually, I would like to bring up on this video clip, the message is that being kind should start young. All the young kids that you have at home, or you bring them up for the Dharma Tuta Junior program, please try to share with them the kindness. In our teaching, we actually share upstairs in the Dharma Tuta Junior program, we emphasize a lot on kindness. Right? So that we believe that the society will be a better place to live in if we start with the young kids. The young ones, train them to be kind, so it becomes a habit of them. Right? That's where we start to cultivate the habit. With the good habit, then we have a good society to live in, a more gracious and more embracing society for all of us. Right? So with that, I will end my talk. Thank you for your attention. Right? Sadhu.
Any questions from the floor? Anyone? None? All know about kindness. Okay, so if there's none, we will do